We have new season, and that mean new changes, and that mean new guide. So let's start with Disco Priest this season as the first one. Yeah, really, Disco Priest. Okay, so a little bit about changes like overall. What we got, now we are not as much tied. We need to, like before, we needed to have a lot of haste. Like at least this 23,000 I have now. We needed a lot of haste for Discipline Priest to feel good. Because we needed to we do a lot of casting, so we shorten our cooldowns, so we have a lot of uptimes of our cooldowns. Now we no longer shorten of any cooldowns by our casts. So we still mana haste because it's good, but I think it's much better feel because before, when I was just gearing Disco Priest from start of the new DLC, so I had no gear as everybody else, and now it just feels much better from start because you don't need to have some great stats for it to perform. Before, it really felt bad. If you didn't have haste in season 1 with Discipline Priest, it felt bad. It felt you are lacking some healing. Now it's quite great. That means we will be planning our Voidwraith a little bit more because it's a shorter cooldown now, much less cooldown. It was minutes, now it's just 30 seconds. Because now the talent that was shortening it, it's giving 50% reduce cooldown. Or it was 45 seconds, I think it was 45 because they increased duration. It doesn't matter, it's shorter than before, but we cannot keep it. You cannot just end up, one Voidwalker is going away, and you can just immediately use a new one, even if you have million haste, because no longer is shortening. Of course you can extend duration, but you are not able to extend duration this much. So yeah, you will need to plan your cooldowns a little bit better, but on the other hand, we have new cooldowns. Evangelism is much better than before, because it's also doing a huge heal, and we also have ultimate penitence because now we just need to take it to get lower in the talent tree, and it's fine to have. We lose something, we gain something, it feels good, and it's just a little change to the Disco Priest gameplay, but I like this much more. I don't know why. It just feels much better in my hands. Alright, I'm rambling about not important stuff. Let's go straight to the guide. Well, straight to the guide. I was just talking for a few minutes. Jeez. Alright, stats. Haste. Haste, haste, haste. We no longer shortening our cooldowns, so it's not as a huge deal as before. So we don't need to go absolutely mental for the haste. But still, if you are a healer that don't have mana issues, what Disco Priest is, you are going haste. That's how games usually works. Like, Evoker is a little bit special because he got a lot of abilities that are on cooldowns, so he's quite locked on that cooldowns and that essence, I think it's called. Essence points regeneration. So it's not best haste for him, but any healer, like Shaman, first season, Dragonflight, he was on haste. Then he got the mana issues, he stopped being haste. So yes, haste, still our king. And now Penance is also not shortening our cooldown with Smite, but the Penance cooldown is now scaled with your haste, so another reason why haste is still nice. So not only Mind Blast is scaled with your haste, but also your Penance. Then after haste, you are usually on dungeons for healer, we're going for versatility for some survival. But we are gearing now, we are not going high push when we have high risk or insta-kills. So we take more critical, we take more mastery to just be able to heal those dungeons without having any issues because we are under gear. We are vastly under gear. If we have 670 item level, we will be healing 10s like nothing. But we are not there yet, we are gearing, so yeah, so it's critical mastery is very good. Then later if you think about pushing, of course, you'll go more versatility, but sure. And most people start clicking more mastery. Maybe it's because there is so much mastery on all the gear, so it's just coincidence, or it's performing better than critical. But statistical strength, people are playing more mastery. But yeah, simple, a lot of haste, crit mastery if more for healing, versatility if more for a little bit survival and push, but I would keep versatility for a little bit later. Let's move on talents. So from talents, there is not much variation. Right tree, everybody's playing the same, there is not much else to choose. It's not worth it that much. Middle, exactly the same. From the left tree, you can play a little with the utilities. For example, if you don't want Dispel, or you can choose those talents somewhere else. I don't know, for Leap, let's say, or Inspiration is not bad. Angel Bulwark, you can survive without it. You can sacrifice it, arrange for abilities. It's completely fine to play without it. It's just a little bit quality of life, but it doesn't matter. And you can just put it somewhere. And of course, if you want to, and if you are playing Glib anyway, you don't need this tentacle talent. You can choose Dominate Might to get there, but I prefer to just... This is useless, but you are saving one talent point, because you don't need to have a Leap of Fate and Dominate or Mind Control to get lower. But yeah, like these 3 talents, Dispel Magic, Angel Bulwark, or Phantom Reach, if you want to choose something else, these 3 talents are good to be gone. Or, of course, these 10 jails. Sometimes it save my ass sometimes, because people are ninja pulling everything and everything is running for healer, so I can just root them and I have a few seconds to run away from them until somebody will break the root. Alright, if you want exactly this talent, Impulse String will be in description of the video, and let's move for rotation priority gameplay, whatever you want to call it. A little note about the new set piece. So if you don't have new set piece yet, it doesn't change much. It's just changing that your shield will be giving strong heal and 15% healing increase on the target. So you just need to use shield less, because it's much better with 4-piece. That 4-piece is working with the shield. Without it, you can use just Power Word Shield less, because it's not as potent as before. I'm still using it a lot because I have still old 4-piece. So in case you have old 4-piece, then Power Word Shield is still great. If you don't have old and you don't have new 4-piece, then Power Word Shield is going a little bit behind. A little information about Disco Priest if you are really new with Disco Priest. Disco Priest is healing from damage through Atonement. So Atonement is that shiny buff you are getting on allies, and 70% of your damage, any of your damage, is healing all the target for the same amount, all the target with Atonement. So if you have more Atonements, it's not splitting, it's healing everybody, same amount, 70% of your damage. And it's counting on your damage, so some trinkets or some items on use, like potions that can do damage, is not counting. So it need to be like your abilities. If you have some trinket that will do some huge damage, it's not healing. It need to be like your class damage. So your abilities. That also means Disco Priest healer doesn't have split like healing part and damaging part, because damage is heal is damage. So we're doing damage, and that's how we are healing, because we have Atonements on the targets. I have some logs from the dungeons. Ugh, too bad I don't have some 10s. And you can see it's basically just Atonement. Sometimes little tweaks over here, but it's basically what are healing is your damage. Atonement healing is your damage healing. And you can also see 73% overheal, 2.7 billion overheal. That's a lot of overheal. First priority, first thing we are doing when we get to the combat, we use Shadow Ward Pain. Just apply on primary target and forget that ability exists. In the case it will drop from primary target, then reapply it. Usually you just need to click it once on start of the combat, and then you will just keep extending it and spreading to other enemies. So usually just one on the start of the combat on one target. It's doing damage, that damage is healing. If we hit the target with Shadow or Pain, we hit it with Penance, is extending duration of the debuff, 1.5 seconds every bolt from Penance. And also when we apply Penance on the target, it's spreading to 2 more enemies. So it will be spread to multiple enemies, and also it will be extending duration, so when you're fighting boss, it's also just one apply once and you are fine. Then each its damage have chance to empower your next Penance by 30%, so 30% more damage or heal. It's 100% after Mind Blast, but we are using Penance on cooldown anyway, so it's no big deal, it will happen, we don't need to think about that. Second priority, it's our Atonements, usually Power Word Radiance. If we need to heal a little bit more, or like it's constant healing, we need to heal non-stop, we can apply Atonement by other means, but usually in dungeons, in most situations, you will just cast that Radiance. You will apply Atonement on 5 targets, and also heal 5 targets. It's a little bit shorter Atonement, it should be 10.5 seconds. At default it's 15, I think. So a little bit shorter, but it's fine. You will also heal a little everyone, and we'll get Atonement on everyone. Yeah, that's what we want. And then, you know, if you are doing damage, you are healing, so if you want to heal with Disco Priest, we need to have Atonement on our targets. Absolutely primary thing. So yeah, Radiance is the best way how to apply Atonements, but there's other ways. You can use Power Word Shield, That's great to just keep it non-stop, that Atonement on tank. And there is never bad shield on tank, because tank will always get some damage. Then you can use Flash Heal. Flash Heal is healing yourself always for 20% of that heal. So you always get Atonement on yourself. So if you heal somebody else with Flash Heal, you will get copy of Atonement. So that's quite a great way to get fast 2 Atonements up. So Power Shield, Flash Heal, and there's also a Renew. So if you don't need to heal right now, Renew is not healing much, but it's cheaper than Flash Heal, it's faster than Flash Heal, and you can cast it by moving. So if you really need something, but most of the times Radiance will take care of it. This is like panic, not panic. If you need to always heal, like some bosses have non-stop damage to whole group, then you need to spread Atonements by other means, or when almost nobody's getting damage right now, so you want to keep Radiance for later, you will just keep applying it by some heals. And when you cast Flash Heal, you also get 10% defensive, what is quite huge, because Priest doesn't have much defensives. And this is, you don't need to heal yourself. Same thing as will happen in Atonement, because you will get 20% of that heal on yourself. That means if you heal anyone else, you will get Atonement and you will have 10% defensive. And that's quite nice. Your abilities like Smite have chance to make your Flash Heal instant cast, costing no mana. So in that case, you get that proc. It's a good time to just click Flash Heals somewhere. You'll get free Atonement, you'll get free heal. I got Frost now. Next Flash Heal is instant, cost no mana. So I can cast it here. It's not big heal, but it's free, it's instant, and it's giving you 2 Atonements and 10% defensive on you. So if it procs, other means. So yeah, it's really important to keep your Atonements, usually Radiance, and there are other means. If not everybody is getting damage, or like Peck is doing damage just to tank, it's fine, you will just apply a shield on a tank, and it will heal nicely even with new set pieces, and give you Atonement, give him some absorb, and if you need somebody more, you know, you don't need to use Radiance anytime. You need some heal. There are other means for Atonements. Alright, let's move on. So third priority, here third and fourth priorities are like cooldowns. Before we had almost non-stop uptime, now the scaling is literally worse with shortening cooldowns and stuff like that. So we have Voidwraith. Our Voidwraith, it's changed a lot. It's basically Shadow Fiend, changed to Mindbender, changed to Voidwraith. But we will spawn friend. It need to have some target, that is enemy. That will be primary target. After it dies, it will switch. Voidwraith is attacking, see decent damage, and it's healing on its own. It is Essence Devourer, so that's the heal you see. But if you give Atonement on the target, too bad, it just disappeared. He will be also healing, not on its own, but, well, on its own, every attack, but also through his damage. So every damage he does, it's nice heal. If you use a Penance, Mind Blast, or Shadow Ward Death while that Voidwraith is out, he will do his jump attack, he will teleport on your target, and hit 5 targets together. So maximum 5 targets. Your target, they will click that ability and 4 additional targets. And it's good even for single target, because extra damage, he was still doing his auto attack anyway, and he's extending his duration by 0.7 seconds. So it's quite a big deal to squeeze as many Mind Blast, Penance, and Shadow Ward Death while our Voidwraith is out. So we want to use that ability as often as possible, because it's extra damage and your ability will do damage anyway, so it's just something plus. So I click it, you can see he jumped there, and you can see that Atonement too, so it's 160,000 and 74,000 from Atonement. So he's great at dealing damage, and he's also helping you to do damage, and you can do even extra damage. So if you can see some damage profile from me, it's Entropy Rift, that's with Mind Blast, and Voidwraith is the second. This is his auto attack, and this is his jump after we use these 3 abilities. So you can see it's even more important than his existence is important. You will click this special ability. Another thing, when Voidwraith is out, is we are getting this Shadow Command ability will be basically part Shadow Priest. That means some abilities will transfer to Shadow. Also, our shadow spells will do 20% more healing or damage, which is also quite important because we have another talent that our shadow spells healing 10% more. So this is another upgrade to our healing. So not only this guy doing a lot of damage and we are healing through our damage, but is also increasing our power of shadow abilities. And this buff, it's same duration. If we are extending our Voidwraith, we are extending this buff. So when Voidwraith exists, we have this buff. It's the same thing, very same thing. So you can extend this too, same as you're extending your guy. Next priority, fourth one, Mind Blast. So Mind Blast is boring ability. This shadow so is healing a little bit more, of course, but it's also increasing damage taken on a single target you casted it on by 10% for 9 seconds. So nice damage increase, that means healing increase. Great. But this is our hero talents. We are spawning a Rift. And the Rift is a huge deal and it's doing huge damage. Of course, when it's AoE, it's a little bit better. So, as you can see, it will follow your target. You cast a Mind Blast on. If the target dies, it's choose some other target and it follows that one. I have no idea how it's choosing. I think it's just random. Sometimes it's choose good, sometimes it just start flying on some little art that is standing outside of group of enemies because it's just caster that don't want to come closer. It always follows your primary target. If that dies, it's doing wild stuff. But it's fine. That's why you are choosing your primary target as somebody who will be in the middle of pack and who got most health. This Rift is doing damage over time, that is healing. On end of the duration it will explode. Another healing because it's another damage. But a little bit more about it. It's every single bolt of Penance, heal or damage, doesn't matter. It will happen, it will improve this Rift. 10% more damage per one bolt and 10% more size per one bolt. So default Penance is 4 bolts improved. With another talent is 6 bolts, so that's 60% already. So usually you want to cast Penance immediately after a Rift, so you instantly buff it at least at 40% size and damage. Another mechanic with it is after you use Mind Blast, when you have that Rift out, your Smite is changing on different ability. Your Smite is now Void Blast. Void Blast is doing more damage than Smite. That's huge help. Then it's Shadow ability, so another help because this is 10% more. If we have combined this with Voidwraith, we have another 20% of healing and damaging of shadow spells. So that's another combo, we can do it. And that ability, this Void Blast that is replacing Smite, is also healing 100% more. So it's more than double. It's more than double. Where is my face again? So it's more than double. So we can see Smite, my damage 76,000 after I have Rift out. It's 120,000, that's a huge increase already, but this is another 100% more healing. So this is a huge increase of your healing. So Smite on its own is doing almost nothing. So after you get that, it's Shadow, so it's better on its own, and then because it's doing more damage than Smite, and then it's 100% increase healing from it. So it's a huge deal. There is so many damage. All you need to do is Powerful Radiance, cast Mind Blast, and spam some Smites, and you can see it is healing so much. It's healing 400,000 every time I just do damage. This 40,000 is damage from Rift, and that's not even full damage we was doing. Look at this, 1.6 million. It was just basically nothing together. It was very simple and it was healing so much. Of course, we have other abilities to combine with it and improve that healing even more. Okay, I talk a little about it. Now we don't shorten our cooldowns, so we can have the 100% uptime, something like Voidwraith. So now it's fixed 30 seconds, but it's shorter than before, but it's still fixed 30 seconds, so you need to plan it more. So you need to think, oh, some damage will be happening here and there. Now I don't need to heal that much, I will just heal a little, I will just place manual Atonement, I will keep Radiance too. I will just place manual Atonement and I will just click few Smites because it will heal not much, but you need to keep those healings. You cannot heal non-stop as before. It is not a problem. Most of the time there is some downtime where you don't need to heal much, then it's some boosts you need to heal much for 10 seconds, let's say. So it's usually not a problem. There are some bosses that non-stop hurts, but it's fine. It's completely fine, and you have new cooldowns to compensate a little. You are out of cooldowns, and you still need to healing that. But Mind Blast, it's quite long duration. I forgot to mention in Mind Blast, when you're casting the Void Blast, you can extend duration of that Mind Blast, well, that Rift, by 1 second every cast, but just 3 times, maximum 3 seconds. And you can see my cooldown was 6 seconds, so I have it back quite soon, but this is the worst time you have in the dungeon is when your Rift ends before your next Rift begins. So this is maximum duration. I extended 3 times by 1 second, that maximum will disappears, and I still, well, 7 seconds cooldown. So this is your hard time, this is your downtime, and you need to plan this downtime when it's nothing happening, ideally. Alright, moving on, we have Penance. We talk a lot about it. Basically, Penance is our channel. It's shooting by default 4 bolts. Then we can, after we cast Radiance, we will get 1 stack. That 1 stack is increasing bolts of neck Penance by 2. Before, we could cast it again, and we would increase Penance bolt by 4, so that would be 8 together. Now it's 2 stacks of 2. So it's not 8, but it's twice 6. Is like you can consume 2 stacks at the same time. That's what I changed. So yeah, you can have more bolts. That means your rift will increase. That means your pain will extend duration. So we know it's extending duration of pain is spreading this debuff, that Penance, and also decent damage. So we are healing from it. We can move while we are casting it. So that's great for repositioning because our Smite or Void Blast, it's called. Void Blast, it's cast, so we can move. So when we are casting Penance, we can zoom on some different spot, reposition ourselves, then we start standing again and start casting our Smite or Void Blast. And usually Penance used on enemy because that spreading of dots is important, extending dots is also important. Save your time reapplying it. But it can be used on friendly. It got increased its effectiveness a lot. So now it's decent single target heal. And the talent is by the default that if you use it for healing, and well, let me put the shield here, so there's Atonement, and I use Penance on me, it's still healing something if you use it as heal. So before it was not default, it was talent that nobody play anyway. Now it's a little bit better. It's still healing less than Atonement targets, it's healing less than if you would use it as damage, but if you are focusing more on single target, you don't need to heal AoE, then it's fine to use it on that person. More fine than before. You still want to use it for damage because usually you need to heal everybody or most of the people in a group in dungeon. But yeah, it's better than before to use it to actually heal someone, and will also heal a little to the Atonement. And we are no longer shortening it, but cast of Smite or Void Blast, before it was half second. But now its cooldown is scaled by haste, so we can just cast it more time without shortening it. It's fine, it feels good. Alright, next priority, we have Shadow Ward Death. So it should be finisher, but not really. We want to use it mostly in 2 situations. So first one, top importance, if Voidwraith is out, then Shadow Ward Death as Penance and Mind Blast 2 is making him to do this jumpy attack that's doing huge damage. So it's huge deal because it's huge heal. So in that case, doesn't matter, target is not under 20% of health, doesn't matter, we'll click it. Because what matters is the damage Voidwraith will do. And that's better than actual damage of this ability when target is more than 20% of health. So during Voidwraith, we want to use this Shadow Ward Death. Second reason, when somebody is under 20% of health. Why? Because when somebody is under 20% of health, we are doing 150% more damage with this ability. So it's starting to be strong damage, and strong damage, once again, is strong heal. If we use it on a target that have under 20% of health and won't kill it, we can use it immediately again. So amazing. Because we can use that strong damage twice. And the best combo ever, of course, there is your boy, Voidwraith is out. So he will do jumpy attack, he will do huge damage because target is under 20% of health, and you can use it twice. That's the best combo you can do. If you don't have Voidwraith and you don't have low target, it's not worth it, because it's also doing 5% of your health in damage. It's 300,000. So in that case, Smite is a little bit better, but if you need to move and you have Atonements up, min-maxing, let's not talk about it. Just use it in these two situations, ideally combined together. Little Lita is also doing huge amount of extra damage if there is some target that have shield. For example, affix this week, there are those balls, and they have 1 health and huge shield. Of course, you will dispel it or control it, but before that happens, you can use Shadow Word Dead on them targets, and you will do massive healing, because it's low health target, so huge damage, and it's shield, so it's huge damage increase too. So I just click Shadow Word Dead on that boss, and it's quite fun and strong. Also on that ad that is giving reduced damage taken on enemies, that's also affix. You can use that Shadow Word Pain. It's really good damage for that ad, what you should do, damage to that ad, and it's really good heal too. So I really like that affix with Disco Priest, because it's helping me a lot. Alright, 7th priority, we have Power Word Shield. So I mentioned it many times, if you don't have any forset, you don't need to use it as often, but still, I even like this talent for movement speed, so it's even good for reposition. It's 40%, it's quite a lot. And more or less, we don't have old set piece, we have new set piece. We want to use it often, almost on cooldown, maybe even literally on a cooldown, because that set piece, old one and new one, is both of them are good and increasing power of this shield a lot. So if you don't have any 4 pieces, forget about this. Just use it between damages, by running between packs, on tank before he pulls, something like that. If you have new 4 piece, just use it on cooldown, because it's good healing increase, as shield will apply that insurance effect. 40% power only, but still it will be healing decently, and it's also increasing healing taken for the target by 15% from you. So yeah, on cooldown, then you have new set piece or old set piece, because old one is increasing how much absorb is the shield giving. And of course, it's instant free. What? Atonement. Alright, next priority and last priority is our Smite and Void Blast. We also talk about it many times, so that's what we do. Everything else is on cooldown, and we are just spamming. Plus Smite is way weaker for healing than some Void Blast spawns, but of course we cannot have 100% uptime with normal amount of haste, so it's not that easy to have it non-stop. After you get Bloodlust, you click PI and you get affix this week for another 20% of haste. It's really close to have non-stop uptime, but usually not. So that's all. Let's summarize it a little. I wanted to make this really short and on-point guide, but apparently I was not recording anything in months, and I was just talking and talking. So at least I hope it's important information and will help you in your gameplay or with your gameplay. A little summarize. So everything about Disco Priest is do damage and it's healing 70% of the damage to everyone. So more atonements, more healing. So first priority, you go to combat, you apply Shadow Word, Pain. Second priority, Atonement on anybody that needs healing. Then third and fourth priorities are cooldowns, Voidwraith and Mind Blast. They are doing many things, many other things, and are short cooldowns, but really strong cooldowns. We are almost useless without them, so we need to time it well. Then we have our Penance on cooldown. Then we have our Shadow Word Dead, that's 2 situations where we use it. Then we have our shield, we don't need to use if we don't have any 4 piece. We still want to use, but between damages, then we can chill and not much to do. And then we are spamming Smite, or when it's Rift up, it's not Smite, it's Void Blast. And that's all we are doing with our basic priorities of rotation. So a little talk about cooldowns now. Power Barrier, it's not much to explain. Everybody who is standing in it, 20% damage reduction. So on some huge AoE damage. If not huge AoE damage, you can use it also for single target defensive. It's fine. It's a little bit wasted, but if somebody will survive thanks to this, it's definitely worth it. Then we are using Evangelism, what we didn't use before in dungeons. And Evangelism was before just extending duration. Now it's healing a lot. So with my shitty gear, it's 4.6 million. That's already a lot. And this healing is split for everyone who got Atonement. So in raid, no big deal. In dungeons, quite a bigger deal. And it's like nice little panic button who Disco Priest didn't have before. If somebody is low now, you just click Radiance, bam, bam, huge heals in criticals, 2.7 millions. Do I have 8 millions? It did 8 millions by one click. Something like this didn't exist for Disco Priest, so it feels quite nice. So you want to time it ideally outside of your Mind Blast and Voidwraith window, because you want to use these two cooldowns and Ultimate Penitence to compensate the downtime of your main cooldowns as Mind Blast and Voidwraith. So usually between them, and with the Evangelism, of course, anytime you need to heal a little bit more, and right now it's fine to use it, but ideally to also time it if you don't have Radiance, or at least don't use it if you have 2 charges. Just use Radiance. Ideally, of course, if you need to heal right now, fine. But yeah, you want to extend that Atonement so you spare that Radiance, and you can use it later in a few seconds. And it's also nice because Evangelism can do some decent single target. Condition is that heal is split amongst everyone with Atonement. So condition is you need only 1 Atonement, not more. And if there is only 1 Atonement existing, it will do all healing to the target. So this is some nice, fast, big single target heal we didn't have before. In these dungeons, I didn't notice something that I needed really fast single target. It was more of previous season. There was more single target abilities. But you can do this. There is 1 Atonement, you click ability, bam, full amount, single target, will be 12 million with critical. Nice amount. We couldn't do that before, that's why I like it. I never use that, I always use it for AoE, but it's option. Alright. Ultimate Penitence. We didn't use this in dungeons. Now it's so easy to have it. So we have it. It's not as strong, but it's still decent. I found myself, if you have Voidwraith out, Voidwraith, Mind Blast out, and you keep spamming this Void Blast with 5 Atonements, it's better than have 5 Atonements and cast Ultimate Penitence. But there is times we don't have that. And then we have this cooldown, so again, compensation. If we have downtime or we plan it badly, we can compensate with that. It's not saying if it's healing just injure allies, so maybe it's strong single target heal, but it's not saying it's healing injured allies, it's saying it's healing allies. So maybe it's always just random allies. Hopefully it's injured and focusing like the lowest targets. I would really hope for that. So if that is true, it can be really strong single target or like 2 targets. Otherwise, it's always better to put it to enemies. Of course, damage is way less than healing, but 70% of the damage will be spread to 5 targets. So it's 5 times 70%, and that's more than that healing amount. So I think I was calculating it. So it's 6.3 million healing, but if you do it to enemy, and you have 5 Atonements, it's 9 million healing. So it's quite vastly difference. So less targets if it's healing to lowest target, then just use it to friendly, but most of the time you want to heal AoE and you click it to enemy, and also you do damage, and damage is good because enemies will die sooner, you will be faster in dungeon, dead enemies don't hurt, and your dungeon will be faster. You make it +3. Yeah. Another special things with that, you start levitate when you cast it. If you are in the air, you can avoid some ground abilities. For example, like 3rd boss in Floodgates, those waves, you don't need to dodge if you are in the air, because they are going under you, they are not hitting you, you're fine. Or like this in Mechagon, those saws that are zooming everywhere in the 2nd boss, 3rd boss, I don't know which one. You will go to the air, nothing is hitting you, and you are fine. So it can be really potent to just dodge some abilities if you are in tight situation. You also get 100% of your maximum health as shield. So it's massive shot, so it's really good for your own defensive. So you can say it will heal 9 millions with 5 Atonements, but if you get more than 7 million of health in damage, it will also your shield is massive, like it's 7 million right now. It will be more after we get more stamina with better gear. So yeah, it's not as strong on its own because it's quite a long cooldown, but everything together it can be really, really potent if you time it good and you save yourself from some tough situation. What they added, usually, when I want to use the enemy. When you use it, you can move now. Slowly, but you can move. That means, before, if you cast it in dungeon, and it's quite long cast for dungeon, because there is so many things you need to dodge, now you can move. That means, not like you can keep up with somebody running ahead of you or something, but you can dodge some AoE that will be placed under you during the duration. Before, it was, oof, something spawned under me, I'm dead after I finish this cast. It's not very worth it. Now, you can slowly move away, and you will land safely, and you will be fine. So, much better than before, thanks to that little change with that movement speed. Next cooldown we have Power Infusion. We know what it is. It's mini Bloodlust. It's a mini Bloodlust for someone. Always use on somebody else, because you will get copy. Don't use on yourself, because you wasted one use. And use it on somebody else, you will get exactly the same buff. And time it for your DPS cooldowns. In cases you really struggle healing with some moments, you don't have cooldowns, whatever the reason, use it when you want, of course. If somebody will die, then it's priority to use it for yourself, because you can save him with more healing. Of course, because that DPS is 0 DPS, so it's definitely then worth it to use it for yourself, or like yourself, your timing, not DPS timing, but otherwise, just always think about DPS when using PI, not about yourself. Usually it's fine. And the last, not least, is the best external cooldown in a game. Okay, Evoker have stronger one, but you are delaying damage, you are not protecting. So Evoker defensive is stronger, but that damage will happen anyway, it just delays it. But this one is protecting 40% of damage, definitely the strongest one for 8 seconds. It's massive. It can save so many people from so many troubles. It's absolutely huge deal for tanks. So just don't forget it exists. It's long cooldown, but every time you use power or shield, it's shortened by 3 seconds. So that's also why it will be important to use those shields. But you want set piece, so it also feels good to use shields. Because using shield just for the 3 seconds is not worth it, of course. Yep, but that will be everything. On the end, there is nothing to talk about damage, because we are doing damage anyway. We're always doing good damage rotation, because good damage is good healing. In case you want to do just damage, you can skip Power or Shield, you can skip Radiance, you can skip any Atonements, just do those damage abilities. So anyway, if you have any questions, just leave me a comment, I will try to respond as fast as possible. On my Discord, there will be exactly the same guide in a text form, so if you prefer some text or you just want to check something specific, it's not so comfortable to just, find exactly spot in the video, so I understand every single thing I said here. I have it in text on my Discord, so link is in the description, you want there. I have also my Vigavras and my Voodoo settings there, so if you want that, get it there. And thank you for watching, think about liking and subscribing, it's helping me a lot, and goodbye.